Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today Mañana. I'm Michael. This is Xavier. We're happy to have you on this beautiful, fine day.
Gorgeous day, absolutely.
Yeah, we were just explaining before. Alex, he's on vacation. He's on Montana, so you're just gonna have to deal with us two, right?
Well, I am delighted that you are taking the helm. Because I just sit here, relax, and watch you do.
We were doing almost short straws, like who's gonna lead the show?
It wasn't short straw. It was like, no, you do it.
Yeah. Well, Judah put me here, so that was the final straw. I was kind of waiting for something. Judah's like, no, I put you. I'm like,
yeah, but you're good at it. You remember everything you're supposed to say. I only have one line I gotta say, which is don't forget.
I know, but that's why it was just like I was like, no, make it. I know Xavier. He wants that little limelight today. I could sense.
Maybe a lime drink, but I don't know about limelight.
Yeah. Well, speaking of drinks, like Alex likes to say, get comfortable. Grab your cafe con leche, iced or hot. But as always, we're happy to be presented by Emergent Financial Services, powered by Craddock, Sirius Insurance. Matthias Realty, Castle Hill Cider, and of course always FABA. So
and we have Miguel here with us today.
Yes, we're going to be joined shortly by Miguel. But first, I know we wanted to touch a little bit upon. We went to on Saturday. Charlottesville had the CVille Sabroso Festival.
That was it's the first time I've been to that, I believe.
Yeah, they've had it a while, but it was the first time we managed to get out there. We took advantage of our Saturday. First, we went to Standardsville.
Yeah, the Clay Festival.
The Clay Festival.
That's to make Mama happy. Yeah.
Exactly, all that pottery and stuff. Pops night, we're just kind of like, okay, but she had to go one by one.
Next booth, let's go.
Exactly, it's like that looks similar. I feel like I saw that, but it was really beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
And it was nice to see all the local artisans that are there and making this.
Oh, it's impressive. Pottery. It is impressive. I mean, a lot of that pottery that we saw was like, wow. I mean, this is like really nice stuff.
Yeah.
So
especially when you don't even have I'm speaking for myself and probably for you. We have no talent when it comes to actually making art. I can't draw, I can't create, so to seeing people create that beautiful pottery is very impressive.
Yeah. I would assume it takes a little practice too, though.
Yeah, with the spinny thing, and
that would be fun.
That would be fun. Like I said, but everyone's got the perfect vases. Ours would come out like this, and we'll be like, no, it's
we'd say we did it on purpose. Yeah,
exactly. It's a Picasso.
I think sometimes you go to booths and you see this, you see these weird images, and I'm saying, now did they create that, or it's just that they didn't come out right, and they said, no, that was on purpose.
It didn't come out right, and then they jack up the price and say, no, you're not seeing what it really is. Exactly. It's like those paintings where it's just like the 3 lines and it's like going for millions of dollars and I'm like, it's 3 lines. Like, no, can you see the motions that come? Like, no, you painted 3 lines. That's not fair. But so we went to that, and then we were lucky to go to the CVille Sabroso Festival, which is packed.
What a beautiful day and music, and they had really that kind of music that makes you want to move immediately, even without a drink. It makes you want to move.
Well, I saw you and Mama trying to.
Well, we were trying, but
we were trying.
One drink, I would have been up there, but without the drink, it's like but there was only 2 people dancing.
There was no horchata. There was no alcohol in the horchata.
No, that's right, exactly, none whatsoever. Yeah. But the food was delicious. We had arepas on wheels was there, sombreros was there, and there was others. But I remember them, and everything was delicious. I mean, I think we had a little bit too much to eat and. Not enough to drink, I think.
Well, listen, it filled our tummies, and if you danced more, you probably wouldn't have felt so full.
That is true. That's true. Well, I didn't see you dance either, though.
Yeah, but I can hold a little more food than you can. I think, at this point.
Obviously, at this point, there's no doubt about it. Yeah. Anyway, I see that we have some friends we have Ricardo Cruz Duran liking the show, Johnny Oneros, amigo del programa, liking the show and sharing. Liking and sharing, there you are.
There you go.
Muchas gracias, señores.
Yeah, you got the little amigo de programa thing that Alex always used to like to say. Alex says it so fast sometimes. I don't even know how he does it. He's like, it's almost like registered in his head.
I think he's got.
I have to think about what I want to say, and then I'm like.
He's got all these things programmed.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah.
But what do you say? You want to go right to it?
Yeah, no, I mean, we got Miguel here. I know he's got some ideas.
He's got all the papers laid out.
Forget about it. I mean,
he came prepared.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, this is, and I don't know if this is to talk about the puppy or to talk about insurance. I mean, I can't tell.
This is all the research he did
on the puppy,
on the golden doodle.
Yeah. So without any further ado, here we got Miguel. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias, buongiorno, everybody.
Buongiorno, I like that.
Buenos dias, good morning. Well, first of all, it's always so much fun to be here with you, everybody, and thank you so much. I'm, humbled to be in this show every time. And it's,
Well, I have
it's
to
a
admit,
beautiful day.
the only reason you're here again is because Carolina was
we're
supposed to be here.
Yeah.
So we say yes, and then every time you come, Carolina should show up.
We're
So-
like,
I know.
Carolina, you can bring Miguel,
I
but
know.
then she stays and Miguel comes.
I know. I promise she will be here next time. Okay.
You said that last time. I'm only kidding. We're
No, we
delighted
love
to have
having
you.
you
We're
on.
delighted to have
Thank
you.
you so much, and I'm so glad that you I just heard you talking about CVille Sabroso show. That was a beautiful show. I was there.
I know we saw like I said, we saw Carolina
Yeah.
and your youngest son, which I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I didn't see you, but maybe I wasn't there at the time.
You were, yeah. So she said you were at the table. She was getting some
Okay.
food to go eat. This was, I don't
Great.
remember.
Well, that was a
233.
beautiful show. It's just getting better and better every year. Like I was, last year I was in the show too, and it's probably 30 or 40% more people at least compared to last year.
Wow.
So that's beautiful because it's a show that is growing. It's getting more awareness in the community, in both the Latino community, American community, and you will be surprised of how many American people went there.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
like I said, they had the music, right? And let's be honest. I mean, obviously, I'm a little, biased, but Latino music immediately once you hear it, it makes you want to move.
Oh yeah.
So they had it out there. They're singing, and it's you get there, and right away you feel happy, right? It's like you feel energetic, and again, and there's that beautiful, delicious choice of different Latino food. So it was, anybody can go there and feel good.
Yeah. No, that was a great show. I definitely going to keep going every year. I don't know if you knew, but we were one of the main sponsors on the show. And we were so happy
job.
to sponsor because, it's part of the culture, and we want to make sure that the Latino community, we can help in any way that we can, I just will invite anybody who hasn't been in this show. It doesn't matter where you're from. Beautiful show. Just make sure you save the day for next year.
Yeah.
This is gonna be great. They got great music, great food. I mean, amazing every time. They got all these food trucks, Mexican food, Venezuelan food now
Yes,
right there,
yes.
Uruguayan food. There's a food truck from Uruguay, and I know there are other types of foods there. So, beautiful. I mean, you just
I didn't see any
good time.
I didn't see any
there.
Cuban trucks, so you guys got to figure that one out.
I know. Yeah, I know. Huh. Yeah, but maybe we can tell the Guajiros
There you are.
people they can bring a
That's
food
right.
truck. Yeah.
Bring a truck. Find a truck. Bring it.
No, but it was so wonderful. Sometimes I'm kind of like jealous. It's like, why don't they do this like every weekend? No, that would be
it's
amazing.
true.
Like every weekend, it's like, oh, good,
Yeah.
we got another festival.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you see places in Europe and Latin America, they kind of do that. They have a little more of like that kind of like fun activity, like almost every weekend, versus in America where we're kind of like, we'll do it once a year. It's like,
Oh my
why do
gosh.
it once a year? Why be happy once a year when you could do it like
Yeah.
52 weekends out of
Yeah.
the year?
It's true. I mean, think about it. It's an event. I mean, listen, I don't know how much effort and cost there is to put that together, right? But these are events that bring people out, right? And they start walking, whether it be downtown or near downtown. And I mean, it went from, I think it started 12:30 to 9 o'clock at night, right? So, I mean, there's ample time to go spend 1-2 hours, and it forces people to go out, meet people, and enjoy what there is to enjoy in Charlottesville, right? And like I said, there's music. So if you're not shy, you can go up there, dance a little bit. I mean, nobody's taking pictures or making fun of you. It's just go out there.
Well,
have a
I
good
was
time.
hoping you would go on the dance floor so I could take pictures and then.
Well,
make
that's
fun
why
of
I
me,
didn't,
but-
because I know you well enough. I know you well enough. So, but I mean, it's just a great time.
I
It
think
really
it's a
is.
good therapy, given what's
That's a good
going
word,
on,
therapy.
on the world today. It's a good therapy to meet new people, meet your friends, especially new people, and dance.
Yeah.
We left right about when it was supposed to finish, about 9. Well, I don't know if that ever finished because the dance floor, it was full of people at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
and we just left. We just have to leave because we got 2 kids, and it just takes us another hour to take them to bed. So, but a beautiful show, amazing what people from Sin Barreras, and everybody that is contributing to the show, and people that are working, on it. It's amazing all the job they have done, over the years with this event that is getting more recognized, every year. And I just want to say thank you to all the people that have contributed to making this show happen. And the least that we can do, at least business owners, or specifically Latino business owners, least we can do is to support this show, which is what we did this year, and we want to continue doing that.
I agree. No, it was I know when we went there, there was already a lot of people there, so it was
definitely like 100 people, I'd say, easily.
Yeah.
So it was jam packed. It's cool to see the amount of Latinos in the area, and they're just kind of like all coming together and just like this big celebration. It was really great.
It was, yeah. And it's funny because you walk around and you realize how many people you actually know at this point. We've been in Charlottesville since 2008, but little by little you get to meet more people, and so you're walking around, before you know it's like, hey, hola, ¿cómo está? How are you? And so on and so forth. So that's always nice too.
Yeah.
All right, so we have you here because, we can always talk about the puppy, but I also want to make sure that we because Miguel told us that he's getting a puppy for his kids, and so
we just only wanted to talk about the puppy, but
so there was the pros and cons to getting a puppy. But I remember, we did the same thing. We got a puppy when Michael was in 2nd grade and the other guys were in 5th grade, and that's basically the age of Miguel's kids. And bringing a puppy home does, it forces, not forces because they do it because they want to, but it forces the kids to participate with the puppy, because that puppy has energy, right? And he wants to play. And now the kids have energy, they want to play. So before you know it, they're playing with each other outside. You have to walk the dog, you have some responsibilities. So it's a nice growth, both on, for the children and in this case the puppy, that they get to know each other. And really the partnership that's created is it really is amazing. It's amazing. And it happens so quickly. So
Well, you couldn't have said that any better, but let me translate that correctly. We're getting another kid. My wife and I are kind of like freaking out right now. We think we know what we're doing, but we don't. No, but
your heart knows what it's doing.
Yes,
but the rest of it, yeah.
No, but it's hopefully a responsibility that we're gonna share with our kids, and hopefully they will get it in the next few weeks. But it's good to for any family to have, especially if you have kids, or even if you don't have kids. Puppy can only bring so much joy to your life. For some people, this could even be like a mental or a therapy. Some people are lonely. You have a dog. You get a great companion. You got kids. But the main reason is that we want to grow the family and take our kids off the screen. At least for some time, which nowadays it doesn't happen like maybe your age, at your age or your time or our time. When we used to play on the streets with other kids, I don't see that anymore. It's hard to seeing kids playing with other kids on the streets. Thankfully, we are in a neighborhood where there is a lot of kids. I still see that, but in general, most of the kids, they don't even want to play anymore outdoors, which is concerning.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because you think about, obviously I'm much older than you are, but when growing up, so after dinner, right on my block, I had some friends, and we played what we call stickball, right? And you're talking about in the street, we play stickball. So, you throw the ball, you hit with the bat, and we play until literally you almost couldn't see the ball. It was one of these balls that are like pink, really like, and you got to the point where it's like, he'd hit the ball and it's like, it's in the air. It's like, where? I don't see it anymore. And that's when you know pretty much you have to stop. But think about it. So basically after dinner to about, in the summer, 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock, you're outside playing, right? And your parents know where you are because right in the street, right in front of them, right? Other people are sitting sometimes in their stoop. But we're not inside watching TV. We're not inside on our computers. We were outside, right? Today's world is completely different. It just seems like there's so much going on in kids, either phones, laptops, or pads, or whatever it is, or TV, that they gravitate to that as opposed to doing something physically. So, yes, the beauty I think of a puppy, of a dog, is that it will force them also to say, hey, you got to take the puppy for a walk, right? And it's like, now you got to go for a walk, and it brings them outside. And sometimes just by being outside, it's like, let's stay outside, let's play,
And it's also good because you can assign your kids, your children, like little tasks to do. Like everyone has their own little tasks. Like, all right, on Tuesdays, you take the puppy out to go potty. Or on Wednesdays, you feed the puppy, dinner or lunch or breakfast, whichever it is. And then that's good because then you're also teaching your kids, hey, listen, there's also responsibility that's needed to raising a dog.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I'm just warning Miguel, I don't know how much that's going to last. Maybe for like 1 week, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll take the dog around every Tuesday. And then it's like Tuesday, it's like, no, Daddy, he pooped and I don't want to pick it up. And then Miguel will be out there and picking up the poop. So,
Well, we'll try working on that. But, it's I think it is for any parent, in today's world, you have to be more conscious with your family, with your kids, and you really want to be responsible. That, just being a dad is not enough today, or a mom, you have to make some choices. You have to, in a way, train your kids and give them the tools that they need to, make it for the, so they can be successful in their life. It is, I think, our responsibility as parents, to, show them a world where they can do this, do that, without being on the screen most of the time. Because at the end of the day, that is just entertainment. We want to make sure they are connected with the human part, so they can socialize with other kids, with animals, dogs, cats, whatever pet you have, and that way they can understand what's really happening and not living their life on a screen.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. I know I think you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing.
I hope, yeah.
No, you are. Listen, like everything else, there are sacrifices, but in the long run, I think you're doing the right thing. Okay, so I did want to ask you a question, and I know last time you were here with Chick, we touched upon it a little bit, right? But the insurance industry goes through changes like everybody else, right? And certainly, you sit down once in a while and you realize, wait a minute, my premium went up a little bit in my car, my premium went up my house, my homeowner's insurance, my premium went up here or there, and sometimes as consumers we say, wait a minute, why are the premiums going up? We've got this inflation. I don't need more cost. I don't need something to add to my burden. So tell us a little bit about, why that happens in the insurance industry, and what people can expect.
Excellent. Yeah, good question. Well, it's no surprise for anybody here or anybody, that insurance premiums are going up, like a lot. Whether it's your auto, home, health insurance, that's a big rate increase too. And not gonna sugarcoat anything. It's just we are going through a economic situation in this country where there is a lot of factors, that are involved into why insurance goes up in the first place. When we get calls from insurers, clients, they call, why my insurance go up? So no, there is more than why your insurance go up. It's what's going on with the inflation right now, what's happening, what's driving insurance rates increases. One of the main things is high repair costs. If after COVID-19, everything changed. Everything from all the parts, building your vehicle, repairing your vehicle, houses, labor, everything. It's just going up. Not to mention what the inflation has done to it. So factors like that, even climate change. Have you seen how many floodings is happening in this country over the past few months?
Right.
I'm not even including the hurricanes and all that, and fires. That's a big that's one of the main factors that is also driving why home insurance are going up. They just cannot keep up with major insurance companies. They are losing a lot of money because of it, because of the weather has changed drastically. And now, where they used to have, hundreds of claims, now they have probably hundreds of thousands of claims.
So basically, what you're saying is, if I can understand this right? So, I mean, the way an insurance company works is they take in some of the premiums, right? So they have to build a fund for that circumstance where, let's say, it's just one person, you own your home, right? And you're paying a premium, and all of a sudden, boom, you get, some kind of disaster, whether it be, rain or snow or something that causes some issues to your home, right? And so now that insurance company, maybe you've had insurance for 2 years, and that insurance company has to now lay out maybe like $40,000, $50,000 to repair. You haven't paid that much yet in premiums for that. But in addition to the fact that they have to pay the $50,000 to repair whatever damage the storm created, it used to cost $40,000, but because of inflation now, because of labor and the cost, it's now $50,000. So somewhere along the line, the insurance company says, we're getting more, demand for insurance in the sense of, there's more things happening. So our cost is going up. So the only way to really pass that survival for an insurance company is to increase the premiums, because it's the only way that they can survive.
That is true. I mean, costs are going really high, and the thing is that it is happening more frequently.
Yeah.
When there are actually more there's no less car accidents. There's actually more car accidents. There are actually people that are driving, reckless driving a lot. I mean, DUIs, and so all of these factors over time contribute to rate increases, because the more accidents happen, so the more money the insurance companies had to pay. So they have to justify that. And actually, to be honest with you, even the biggest insurance carriers, they have a big debt. They are losing millions and millions of dollars. And this is why they're constantly raising the rates over the past, I would say, 2 years. Eventually, according to some statistics that I saw, things may get back to normal, if there is such a thing, by 2025. But, that's up in the air.
So I guess it's a plateau, right?
Yeah.
So I guess and I know that there's a question, somebody has a question for you. Ricardo has a question, and I'll get to that in a minute. But, so my feeling is, when you have a booming economy, in the sense of a real estate economy like we did over the last 3 or 4 years, right? That creates somewhat of a tremendous pressure on insurance companies, because they now have to insure those particular homes. Now, statistically, right, so if you say 10% of homes in any area has some form of damage when there's a storm, if now you've got 3 times the number of homes, that 10% is 3 times the number of claims that an insurance company is going to have, with a small period of time that they've had new premiums, new insurance. So it takes a little time before that, all those premiums from all those houses build the nest egg again, where they can say, all right, we've built it. And a perfect example, because we helped the California Earthquake Authority, which is in California. There was a time there that there was no insurance company anywhere that would give anybody earthquake insurance, because in California, it's like you build a house, it's like, well, I'm not giving you earthquake insurance because it's not if, it's when, right?
Exactly.
So they had to create an insurance, the government created an insurance company, an insurance agency, that basically covers earthquake insurance. Now, you buy it through your insurance company, they don't get anything, right? But you have to still go through an insurance company. But there's a situation where, same thing can happen in Florida, saying, well, there's just too many hurricanes, too many flooding, so we no longer, an insurance company saying, we no longer can afford this, we're not going to have this. And so the government steps in and say, we create an agency, some kind of fund in order to help, right? So those things may happen in the future also, because if there are certain areas where now you're building, let's face it, sometimes they build in areas where they know it's a flood zone, and it only gets flooded once every 100 years. Well, eventually, that area is going to be flooded, and all those homes are going to be claiming insurance, right? So,
correct.
Does an insurance company...
it's like that in Florida. Let's be honest, like Florida's always the hurricane zone, so anytime you are a house along the coast, at some point you're going to get hit by a hurricane. It's really inevitable.
Right.
It's not a question of if, it's only when.
When. Right. Yeah, and it is like in Florida. You won't believe how many people just don't have home insurance. Mm-hmm. They just can't afford it. They can't afford a $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 home insurance, homeowners premium. It is just they just can't, and some people just take the risk. It's a big risk, when it comes to your home. And what's happening right now, at least I guess I think nationwide, and I'm starting to see this in Virginia too, that people are just letting their auto policy lapse because they can't afford it, economic situations are harder for, I guess, other people. But I have a few tips, what you can do to, lower, your premium, and according to your budget, that's the first thing you're gonna do. You gotta take control on your financial. In order to
before you go there, so I have because this is really right up what we've been discussing. So Ricardo has the question. It says, considering the current season we are in and knowing winter is coming, how can people prepare through Sirius insurance to make sure they are protected against any unforeseen weather difficulties, etc.?
Okay, good question. Thank you, Ricardo, for watching the show. Well, the first thing you gotta do if you have homeowners insurance, you want to understand what you have. What covers you have. One of the main things you need to have is replacement costs. On your house. It's a must. If you don't have it, you need to talk to your personal insurance agent and asking to explain and go over the coverage of your houses and see where you just want to make sure that you have all the requirements that your house is covered in case the worst is to happen. Now I can tell you that at least in Virginia, almost every homeowners policy, they don't cover for earthquakes. But they don't, you do have coverage, but they don't add it because, when is the last time we saw an earthquake here? But it could happen. As climate change, gets worse, not only seeing more floodings and hurricanes and all these kind of things, I foresee more, earthquakes happening. At least in this country, and you want to make sure that if that is very important for you, you want to be covered for earthquake, then you must add that. You want to make sure you have, all your coverage on your homeowners, have the that your dwelling coverage, the value of your house is up to date, because maybe you have a homeowners, from 10 years ago, but the dwelling coverage on your house or the value of what your house is worth now, not 10 years ago, you probably want to update that.
Right. Yeah.
And and the liability too. There's a lot of things. So basically, my general advice is to go to your insurance agent and review your coverage, with him. Make sure you have everything that you need if the worst is to happen, and if there is any gaps or anything that is missing from you, that is major or that is important to you, make sure you add it. It's gonna come at a, premium increase, but you want to make sure your house is protected.
Sure.
If the worst is to happen.
Yeah. No, and that's very good. That's that's an excellent point, because one of the things that I think most homeowners do is they buy a house, they got the insurance, and every year they just keep paying the insurance. They don't bother looking at their insurance policy again every year in and out. Even though you do receive a statement, please review your policy and let us know if there's any changes. You just say, no problem, let's get going. And like you said, 10 years worth of inflation and houses, increasing in value. What you used to think is like, I used to have a $400,000, dwelling insurance to rebuild my house. Well, if it costs now, $800,000 to do that, you're in trouble, because if something happens, the insurance company says, here's $400,000, and you say, I can build a garage with that. How about the rest of the house? That's something that you need to look into and say, we need to make sure, and it's perfect. Go visit your insurance agent, sit down with him, Miguel, and say, Miguel, what do I have here? This is my concerns. What should I do?
Yeah, and I can tell you, in our agency, we put the clause of replacement cost in every single homeowner's insurance that we sell. We don't just leave it out. For us, it's very important, because this is not just anything. It is your house,
exactly.
And we make sure that you have the proper coverage should the worst happens, because having replacement costs, just like you explained, your house is going to be worth more 10, 20 years in the future than what it is right now. So again, going back to why insurance premiums are going up, the cost to repair a house, an auto, anything, it's just not going to get cheaper. It's just going to get more expensive every year, after year, after year. Why? Well, inflation. Yeah, that's, basically why.
I mean, it's true. Whether inflation is 2% or 7% or 9%, there's inflation. And so that compounds over time. 2% every single year for 10 years, that's over 20%. So that's a big difference between what it costs to repair a car 10 years ago to today.
Yeah, and other things to think about when, why rates are going up is, that impact everybody, us, is, like, people think sometimes that, it doesn't matter what kind of vehicle you have. It does matter. It does matter if you have the vehicle of the year, or if it's older, year, make, and model. Some vehicles, like Europeans cars, are way more expensive, almost double. Why? Because the part of that vehicle, to replace that part, is pretty much going to cost you double than what it will cost a Japanese car or an American car. It is just the way it is, So, factors like that, age, usually young drivers, they pay the price, but there's no way out of it, or, people that are, over 70 years old, 80 years old, they had their premium increase, inevitable.
After 70, they increase or decrease?
I think around 75 up, you start becoming a hazard. It's the same thing like health insurance.
I thought I was going to get a break.
And of course, your driving record, the credit score, companies don't talk about it and people don't know this, but credit scores makes a big impact on how much you're going to pay on your insurance.
Really?
Oh, yes.
I didn't know that.
It is, so obviously, like anything, when you are going to your bank to get a loan or to get a car loan, a house loan, well, that's what's going to determine your loan. In this case, that's what's going to determine your price. The better your credit score, the better the rate you get.
So that's a good tip right there.
It is a good tip.
Make sure your credit score stays up.
Yeah, so, just, tips, make sure your credit score is good. If it's not good, don't do what you need to do to get it better, pay your loans.
Pay off that credit card.
Yeah,
Pay
we're
off
going
the credit
to
cards,
talk
yeah.
about that later too.
So yeah, we'll talk about it. And I'm sure, as long as what's going on right now with the Fed, are they still increasing the rates right now?
Well, they didn't yesterday, but
They
they
did.
still left it open.
Okay.
But I mean, certainly what he said was he's going to make sure that interest rates stay high for a longer period of time, which is, it's not good immediately. Over time, the impact is not as bad, right? Because people get used to it. But certainly, anytime rates are high, the cost of capital is higher, right? And that makes it troublesome.
Yeah.
So tell us any other tips that you have?
Well, you want to have first thing I would say, you got to make sure how is your driving record, make sure that if it's good, then that's a good sign, but if it's not good, if you have a couple of speeding tickets, if you have a couple of accidents, you probably want to slow down, you probably want to drive better, go to the DMV. Like if you have a couple of points on your license, best thing you can do is go to the DMV. They take you to a website where you can like train on an online driving, course where as soon as you get the certificate, they take 5 points off your record.
Wow.
And if you haven't done so, might want to do that.
Sure.
So now the DMV only allows that every 2 years. It's not you can go next day and do the same thing.
Every month we're there. Okay.
It doesn't work that way, but at least you can knock off, 5 points from your license, So tips to, lower your premium, be in control of your driving record. I mean, nobody else will but you.
Right.
If you drive reckless, if you speed up all the time, it's a matter of when. Police is going to stop you and give you another speeding ticket and another speeding ticket, and that's just not going to help. If anything,
Does the insurance premium kick in almost immediately when that happens, or is there a lag?
No, there is. But good question, because and this is what it depends on the type of policy you have. Like if you have a 6-month policy, they will know after your renewal.
Okay.
And this is why we advise most of our customers to do like a 12-month policy, because let's just say we do a 12-month policy right now, and you get a speeding ticket tomorrow. Is that going to show on your record right away? No. But it's going to show 12 months later. So you're lucky. You're not going to pay over premium for having that speeding ticket you just got.
Okay.
After 12 months. Now, if you got 6-month policy, well, you bet 6 months later that's going to show, and then.
So in essence, so if you have a policy that renews every year, every 12 months, then if you get a speeding ticket, my suspicion is then you can go take that online driving, get those points off. Would that help?
That will help internally with your driver's license and the DMV.
But it doesn't help with the insurance.
Doesn't do with the insurance. Insurance, every time you get a speeding ticket or an accident, it's going to stay in your record for up to 3 years. That's what we call minor violations, speeding tickets, accidents, whether at fault or not. Of course, when you have an accident that is not at fault, your insurance doesn't go up much. But when it is at fault, it will. Okay? So these kind of minor violations are going to stay in your record, whether you like it or not, up to 3 years. From the day, you have those. Now, then we have what is called major violations, which, are reckless driving, DUIs, and, things like that. And these are worse because they are going to stay 5 years in your record. So just please don't drive while texting. I will never recommend driving and texting.
Hard to recommend that, yes.
Yeah. don't drive, don't drive if you're drinking. Even if you have 2 or 3 cups, 3 beers, it's not worth it,
Right.
I mean, it's better to pay off $100 for Uber. And trust me, it might sound like a lot, but when you see the cost of getting a DUI, you are up to pay at least $6,000 plus jail time And that is assuming you didn't have an accident, because when you had an accident and you injure other people, things are going to get worse for you.
Yeah.
And so it's not worth it, Just make sure if you are drinking, don't drive. Take someone else to drive your car.
Sure.
Or just get Uber. Uber is everywhere right now, anytime. It's one of those things that you sometimes don't think about it.
I
but
agree. That's
and another tip I think is I think the main tip that I would say is important is take control of your finances. You want to know exactly how much you spend. What is your budget. If you don't have control of your financial, then you don't know where your money is going to.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're spending a lot of money here, a lot of money there, and so just make sure you are in control of that. So that way, you know your budget. And if you have a very expensive car and right now your rate increase and you can't find anything cheaper, well, might want to think about replacing your vehicle for a cheaper vehicle. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that momentarily, until you get your feet up, and then don't pay the price.
No. I agree. I think, and I think that's just good advice across the board. And I think, given where we are, without any doubt, in this particular cycle of economic cycle, getting a handle on your budget is so important, right? And it's one of the challenges I think people have is the fact that everybody has credit cards, so it's very easy to you go to a store, it's like, oh yeah, I just paid with my credit card, right? Little knowing that eventually you have to pay that bill.
Yeah.
And if you can't pay that bill, then you're challenged, right? Yeah. You're going to be in trouble because the interest rates, and Michael and I were talking about this yesterday. The interest rates on credit card bills are through the roof. I mean, the concept that rates go up, but it doesn't do anything to credit card rates is erroneous. I mean, the more rates go up, the more those credit card rates go up.
Exactly.
And right now, the average credit card rate is about 20%.
Oh my gosh.
And the average store credit card rate is about 30%. So you think about it, you buy something, you don't pay it off, the next month your interest is going to be pretty large. And if you don't pay attention to that, before you know it, you'll have paid twice for the product you just purchased. And so again, you talk about taking control of your budget. You need to really sit down and think about, what is my budget? What can I afford? There are some things that are important, and obviously insurance, home insurance, life insurance, especially if you have a family, your car insurance. These are very important items to have, because one never knows what can happen in life when an accident. One doesn't know when an accident's going to happen. So that's where you want the protection, right? So you want to make sure that you can afford that first, and then any type of fund that you want to have, go ahead if you have the budget. But if you don't, make sure that you take control of the things that are important.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to do it, I would advise you to talk to your personal finance advisor if you have one, and just because some people just don't know where to start, but you got to start somewhere, because it's better late than never, and if if you don't have a financial advisor, well, who better to come to you guys? You do this.
Sure, just call Michael
every day. Call Michael. But you need to take control on the spendings that you have on the budget, and everything that is involved with money. I can't stress that enough. If you have no control on that, then you're gonna pay the price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah. Well, Miguel, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all these tips. That was extremely helpful. I think our viewers, I certainly learned a lot, and I think our viewers did too. There was a lot about insurance that goes way over my head, but at least now I feel like I got a little better sense of what exactly, so many different factors that affect your premium and insurance. So Thank you, Miguel.
No,
and before you leave us, so why don't you tell us about where people can find you?
Well, people can find us. We are local here. We have our offices pretty much in the heart of Charlottesville in 29 and Rayo. Our address is 687 Berkmar Circle Drive. Berkmar Circle. Pretty much, very close from the 29 and Rayo intersection.
Okay. Yep.
You can, find us there, or you can call us at 434-956-4458. We'll be there from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We also accept, appointments too.
Okay.
If you don't have much time, we can make an appointment.
And if Miguel's not there because he's in the show, just ask for Carolina.
You can ask for Carolina, yeah.
Well, thank you, Miguel. Thank you so much. Look forward to next time, and give my regards to Carolina
My pleasure.
and everybody else at Craddock Insurance.
And good luck with the puppy.
Yeah,
I will need it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Next time you come, you can tell us how it's going.
Exactly. You can bring the puppy on.
I will. Thank you.
Well,
that was good.
That was very informative.
Well, it's interesting because I think, most people, I don't think most people understand insurance and really how it works, right? Because, I remember people used to say, I don't get it. Why can't I just get health insurance when I get old? Well, it doesn't work that way, because when you get older, the insurance company's going to say, yeah, okay, so for 40 years you felt like you didn't need it. Now that you're 50, you want it, and then 52 years old is when you start getting problems.
Well, it's like getting life insurance at 80 years old. It's like, okay,
Exactly. Yeah. I only want to pay a very small premium because I'm going to die next week. Can I do this? Yeah. So I think understanding how insurance works, right, and the challenges that insurance companies are having today is important. And second of all, as Miguel was saying, it's probably good from the tips point of view. It is so important, really, to take control in times like this where you have, because it's interesting. I know that. We've looked at, over the last 2 years, right, we've seen inflation grow all the way up to 9%, and it was 7%. We're north of 3% right now. And I know there's a lot of people saying, hey, we've got inflation down under control, and the answer is no, we don't, right? And I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but the problem we have with inflation is that when you look at the total package and you think it's 3%, that's not very realistic anymore, right? And, I'll never forget, I think it was Paul Krugman, he said, well, if you take out...
Yeah, I saw that.
If you take out food, if you take out gas, and you take out all these other things, right?
And like rent, for example.
Rent, yeah. Then inflation is at zero. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. However, out of everything that that the consumer needs in life it's a rental, it needs energy, right? Gas, electricity, whatever it may be, and food. So if inflation is at zero, but we're seeing inflation at 3%, then that still must be pretty high. And the answer is yes, it is high, right? So those are the challenges that I think consumers are having. And when you see the type of credit card debt that has been, the increase in credit card debt over the last 4 years, it's past $1 trillion. Exactly. And I think this is last month was the first month where over 51% of consumers felt they could not pay off their bill, their entire bill in 1 month. Because a lot of people, I use credit card to buy things with a credit card. At the end of the month, I pay the whole thing off, right? So there's no interest, there's no penalties, nothing going on there, right? Over 51% said they can no longer do that. So that's increasing. So these are problems that I think, from an economic point of view, that we're seeing. It is a problem that we're seeing because interest rates have skyrocketed from a very, easy type of environment that the Fed put us in with zero interest rates now to 5, 6, 7, 8%. Translate that into other companies that are now, companies borrow all the time, right? So whether they're borrowing long term or they're borrowing short term, their rates have gone up. So if their rates are going up because they need to borrow, and most companies borrow either short term, and that's commercial paper. If they're borrowing short time and their rates are going up, guess what? Their products are now all of a sudden going up. If their products are going up in prices, who's paying for that? The consumer. So it's a vicious circle, and so it eventually, yes, does it stop? If rates stay where they are today and they don't keep going up, then there's the ceiling, right? But the pain that has cost in a very short period of time, I think is detrimental to this economy. And so I think we're going to continue to see an economy that's going to be challenged in different ways.
Back to credit card debt, at what point does that become a bigger issue than it is now? Like people being at the point where it's like, I actually can't pay off my debt. Like what happens at that point?
I mean, so and you see that already. So I think delinquencies are the highest they've been since 2012. So that's what exactly happens. I mean, people stop paying. People stop paying the credit cards, right? Those credit card companies now are challenged themselves, right? Because they're expecting you to pay. Mm-hmm. Now you're not paying, and so before you know it, their balance sheet's not looking very good. So again, it's a vicious circle, and we came out of a pandemic where I think everybody hoped that the economy would be beginning to boom because of it. Because anytime you shut down the whole economy, you expect it. Well, if it's been shut down for a year or almost a year, you expect it to come out really nice and rosy, and we didn't. And it was because obviously the reaction of not being able to get the supplies from different places around the globe was troublesome, right? And it continues to be. But I think it should open up the eyes of many countries, in particular this country, to say we can no longer depend, not for any political reason, but we can no longer depend on always having accessibility to products that we need to finish the product here. We should be able to say, we can take care of that ourselves. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with being global, but you also have to be smart. And you have to be smart in such a way that out of all the countries in the world, the U.S. is the most powerful, and it has everything that you need to sustain yourself, right? So that's one area where I would say it's going to cost more because labor here is more expensive than labor in China, than labor in India. But I think over the long run, I would suspect that most Americans are willing to pay a little bit more as long as the jobs are here and as long as the economy continues to flow in a more fluid fashion. So again, it's just one of those things where, interest rates, the rise of interest rates that have occurred so quickly by the Fed, and again, it's not that I'm bashing the Fed, not that I don't like doing it, but it's not that I'm doing it. I mean, I'm not in their position, right? But how quickly they raise rates in a short period of time has created an enormous amount of pain, right? And so the consumer is now challenged to find ways to continue to live in the way that they used to live, right? In the sense of, yes, I used to buy all this and spend money here and spend money there. And I think sooner or later they're going to find out they can no longer do that. And as Miguel said, you really need to sit down, look at your finances, look at your budget and say, what is it that's important to me? What can I afford? And make sure you don't fall into the trap of saying, yeah, I'll be able to pay that off, maybe not this year, but next year, because that just balloons into the point where sometimes you just can't get out of that. So, it's just, again, it's, and the other area that I just wanted to touch upon is, we're seeing a lot of people ask us about the high yield money market funds. And I always tell people, the money market fund is there for a reason. And the reason you have a money market fund is because you felt that you want to have some money liquid, available at the snap of a finger. And those are savings where you don't want to take any risk. You want to earn a little interest, but you don't want to take any risk. So now you're saying, I'm willing to increase the risk of that investment.
Why is it more risky, a high yield money market fund?
So a high yield money market fund, basically, so money market funds run on two ways, right? They invest in short-term investments by corporations. Most of those corporations, again, we talked about a little commercial paper. So there's short-term borrowings by companies like, let's say, Exxon, Costco, all these companies have short-term, right? So they're solid companies that the monies are there, they just keep rolling it. High yields, you're going now to companies that have a different, balance sheet economic situation where their borrowings are more risky in the sense that you are not 100% certain that they can pay those back. And the one thing that I think most people don't realize is that when a company borrows, and whether that loan is a 30-year loan or a 6-month loan, both of those loans are exactly the same. What do I mean by that? If the company goes bankrupt, both of those loans are now worth whatever it is. If it's 10 cents on the dollar, not because it's a 6-month loan, they say, okay, that one we'll let go ahead, maybe in 6 months we'll pay it off. No, once a company goes bankrupt, all loans are worth exactly the same. So the risk you're taking in a 6-month high yield is the same as you're taking in a 30-year, only you're getting paid a little less. So my point is, you are now willing to invest in a vehicle that has higher risk for money that you feel that is something that you want to make sure is there, and it doesn't lose any value. So I tell people that's just the wrong move. If you have excess cash and you want to invest it, there are ways to invest it that doesn't have to be in those vehicles, right? And go ahead and invest it. But if you want to make sure that those funds are there for when you need them, and it might be a week from now, a month from now, 2 months from now, don't be putting that money into a high yield savings account in order to earn 4% or maybe 5% instead of 2%, because it's a risk that you don't want to take, right? You want to take risk in your retirement portfolios where they're going to grow over time, where you have the ability, or your brokerage account where you have the ability to take a hit here or there if something happens in the market. Not in what you need liquidity and you need those to pay whatever it is you want to pay.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. If
Correct.
you want the money to be quick and you think you're going to use it, there's no point trying to take a risk with it. And then if you don't need the money, then why you bother putting it in a savings account? Just invest it at that point.
So think, again, and you come back to Miguel's point, right? Do your finances, think about it. What's my budget? What do I need? If I have an emergency fund, and that's where you want to maybe have your money in money market, and that's your emergency fund, keep it in a fund that's very safe. That's your emergency. You don't want to take risks with that. And everything else, think about, if I have enough and have extra, then go ahead, find ways that you can invest that and earn more than a high yield savings account, right? And if you and for the same risk, you could be probably earning 2 or 3 times, right? So not 2 or 3 times. That's exaggerated, but at least 2 times.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So a lot of we covered a lot of topics today. That's
I mean, I can get going in this,
I know. Well, so, I'm glad we moved past the credit card thing. That was not painting a very rosy picture for the future.
It's more just to make people aware again, because we work with so many people that sometimes you sit there and you go, the first thing we do is tell people, you've got this credit card debt. The first thing we need to do is pay that off, because it's just soaking up your savings so quickly because the interests are so high, right? So again, I just want people to recognize that looking at your budget, thinking about what you're doing, how you're investing, and what you're spending your funds at is so important. Now do that budget and say, do I really need this month? And if I can't pay off my credit card, how much do I really need that which I'm buying today? I mean, the pleasure I'm getting today, how painful is it going to be tomorrow? Is it worth it or not? That's important.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Pops.
Oh, thank you.
Sharing your wisdom and your advice. It was good. I thought it was a very good show today.
So did I. No, like I said, I appreciate Miguel coming in and really giving us a good overview on what the insurance, business is like. Because that's a business
and
also.
Explanation as to why premiums have been on the rise too, in case people had that question. So, it was definitely good. We had a good show this week, and next week I think we're going to have another good show.
Yeah, we got some people.
Yes, we're going to have Shanice Gray from Peace of Mind Helpers coming on the show, as well as Molly Bossart. She's Bread and Butter Digital Marketing.
Bread and butter. Wow,
bread and butter.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I know when you saw bread and butter, you were probably thinking.
Yeah, me too. I said bread and butter. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that combination.
But as always, we're happy to be presented by Emergent Financial Services and partner with Craddock Sirius Insurance. Our friend Miguel from Craddock Sirius Insurance here today. Castle Hill Cider, Matthias Young Realty, and of course Faba.
And I want to thank Ricardo and John
for his question. Yeah. All our viewers who watch and make the show possible. Big thank you to I Love CVille for having us. Judah behind the camera. Liza for being our biggest cheerleader. The biggest smile Xavier and I get when we walk into the room.
Talk about puppies, right?
Exactly.
Unconditional love. Boom.
Yeah. So on behalf of Xavier and I, thank you to everyone, and hopefully Alex will be back next week, I imagine, yeah. But until then, hasta mañana.